Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Songs That Changed My Life. My name is Emma G. I am a singer, songwriter, artivist here in Washington, D.C.
Welcome, everybody.
And this is episode 3, which means that the last couple of episodes have been with people, and tonight you get stuck with me, guys, while I talk to you guys about my the messages behind my songs. So well, who am I? I'm originally from New Zealand. I live now in Washington, D.C., and have been here for the last 5.5 years, which has been amazing in so many ways. It means that I've been able to literally sing the narrative of the things that are happening around me in this crazy city, crazy country, crazy world. So that's exactly what I do as an artivist. It's my job to take the songs, take the things that I see and write about them and deliver them in a way that hopefully empowers and inspires audiences around the country and around the world to be awesome and step up and share love and be the superheroes that we know that we are secretly if we were just brave enough. So on that note, I want to talk to you guys. Actually, no, before I even talk about that, um, the reason why I put this podcast together, as we all know, this year has been a shit show for a lot of us, and that's kind of manifested its way by really testing us to dig deep into ourselves and figure out who we are and what we're doing and how we're shaping and molding and helping the world. But of course, that's been really difficult for a lot of us. And so one of the things that I decided that I wanted to do was, use my voice, use my message to not just empower those around me, but also teach skills, empowering other musicians and other songwriters to do the same thing if they feel called to do that. So I've started coaching, doing a program where one-on-one program, and I'm also teaching schools, helping out music teachers around the country to help people figure out what the hell is going on in their minds and their brains and their hearts, and use songwriting as a tool to deliver those messages, or at least understand those messages and turn them into hopefully powerful and empowering kind of messages and songs and creations and tools to, I call it, unfunking yourself. So I know I'm a little bit, I don't know, I think some people can kind of misunderstand my accent. I don't mean to swear, I promise. So either way, so tonight I want to tell you guys about one, maybe two of my songs. This is like a self interview. So if you have any questions and you're watching online, feel free to comment in the chat. Let me know where you're from, and tell me what you want to know about my music. To start off today, I'm going to share a song that I wrote, gosh, in 2016, back in the last presidential campaign, when Trump was started running for office. And I noticed, coming from New Zealand, which is where I'm originally from, and having an American mother, but being of brown complexion and living here, I noticed a stark difference in the way that people were treating each other and treating me, and resonating with the world and vibrating through the world. So this was kind of my challenge to America, if you will, to step up and be better and do better, and be a superhero, choose love and compassion over bigotry and racism. So I hope you enjoy this. This is Superhero.
What's going on?
Hold on, she's so much talent. Hold on. Who are you? You're not the mayor of this city. Hold on, no. She's showcasing her. No, she's showcasing her talent to us. If you don't like it, you can keep going. No. She is showcasing her talent to us. You're not the mayor of this city. You don't run up and over here. If you don't like it, you can keep going. You can keep going. Seriously, nah. You can keep going. Go ahead.
wish away the pain. I would, if I could throw it all away. I would. I'd be the voice of sunlight on a midnight train. I'd bend over backwards to push away the pain. Inside this madness, we rise. Inside this madness, we fight. When the angels open their eyes, how their hearts break to realize all of the mistakes we've made at what price. Where's our superhero tonight? If I could free you from this burden, I would. If I could help you feel deserving of everything good, I'd be the voice of passion in a world so cold. I'd bend over backwards to change this mold. Inside this madness, we rise. Inside this madness, we fight. When the angels open their eyes, how their hearts break to realize all of the mistakes we've made at what price. Where's our superhero tonight? If I could free you from this pain, I would hold on so tightly. If I could be your superhero, yeah. Where the angels open their eyes, how their hearts break to realize all of the mistakes we made at what price. Where's our superhero tonight? Where the angels open their eyes, how their hearts break to realize all of the mistakes we made at what price. Where's our superhero tonight? Okay, so that was my song Superhero, which is all about overcoming racial prejudice and, inequality in America. Now, obviously, being a songwriter is weird because I feel because it's like you're almost chronicling. Well, you're chronicling a chapter in your life and a chapter in your world to try and figure out. Oh goodness, sorry. You're chronicling a chapter in your life and a chapter in your world where trying to identify and show the world sort of what is going on in your space at the time, and it can be really fascinating and difficult and scary and vulnerable and at the same time it can also prove to carry on serving in terms of serving yourself, serving the world, serving just the community around you. And it's been interesting over the last 4 years since I released that song, watching kind of the country that I now reside in implode in many ways, but also, learn and grow and challenge themselves and step up to the table. The last couple of weeks in particular, during the election campaign, for 2020, I've really noticed a lot of my social circle step up and really feed into what it means to be a difference maker and lead with love and lead with positivity. And, how bizarre that the song that I wrote 4 years ago, it's still relevant. It's crazy how surreal that feels and how almost powerful it can make a songwriter at the same time. It's like we are, yeah, we're on the front lines of figuring out what's going on in the world. So the first question I usually ask people in the series is, what was the motivation behind your song? The motivation behind this one is a little bit strange. I'll be honest, and I will be talking about this in my book, which comes out. Oh, I don't even know yet. The waiting list will be released soon. So make sure you're subscribed to my email list on imagingmusic.com to stay abreast of that. But the motivation behind Superhero, as I mentioned, it was 2016. I just moved here really from New Zealand in November of 2015. And 2016, one of my really good friends and her son came to the States to visit their family and, attend a wedding in Colorado. I'd never been to Colorado. So I thought, what an opportunity to go and, catch up with my friend and her son and, go visit a state that I'd never been to, but only heard wonderful things about. So we did. I headed over and I flew into Denver City and met them, and we, went on this 10-day, I think it was 10 days, 10-day road trip to Telluride and back. And on the way to Telluride, which is a gorgeous little town, we stopped by this little town called Montrose. And in Montrose, the demographic is interesting. One of the things I most love about Montrose, however, is how many people have tattoos. And so I thought, well, what an opportunity to maybe go and get a tattoo. And as I was looking around and found a place and went in to book my appointment. They're like, great, we can do that. Um, this will be your tattoo artist for the day. However, we can't do it tonight because he's got to report to probation. And so I asked, oh, what are you on probation for? And he said, oh, I tried to kill somebody. Um, you know, I was like, oh, of course, I live in America now. That's different. Okay. So we ended up, I was like, well, what did you, why would you try to kill somebody? He told me that the person he attempted to murder raped his niece. So as somebody who has openly, I'm very open about my own sexual assaults in my world and the multiple times that I've been raped. I'm an advocate for really giving people, I don't know, giving people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to things like that. That sounds horrible. I do not ever advocate for violence ever. But I could kind of see where he was coming from. So I ended up booking the appointment with him, and we had this beautiful conversation during my entire tattooing process, where he was telling me about how paperwork was a pain in the ass when it came to probation. And I turned around without even thinking and said, "Well, isn't it wonderful that your biggest issue is that you have a lot of paperwork, when if you had tried to kill somebody and you were black in this country, you'd be dead right now." And he looked at me and he said, "Ah, you know what? You're right." So we ended up having this beautiful conversation around, privilege and fragility and oppression and blatant, racism and systemic racism in this country. And so I went back to the hotel that evening and I wrote Superhero as a kind of tribute to that conversation, and purely with the hope of, you know, empowering everyone. I recognize that everybody feels like they're doing the best with what they have, and that everyone's the lead character of their story, everyone's the hero in their story, but doesn't necessarily mean that the hero's always acting in a way that is right, that is just, and that is, evident of superherodom. So it's my challenge to, step up and be a superhero. Choose love and compassion over racism and bigotry. So my songwriting process was literally, meditating on this conversation that I had with this tattoo artist, where I mean, it was Colorado. I went back to the hotel room and had a nibble of something, and I just let myself fall into meditation, fall into prayer, fall into um, deep thought, and let my soul search myself a little bit. Um, because it was really important that I wanted to make sure that I wasn't coming from a place of privilege myself. And I say that knowing full well that I don't look like a person of privilege necessarily, but growing up in a country like New Zealand, growing up in a country where oppression isn't nearly as rampant as it is in the States, it was really important that I recognize that, and that I lead from a place of empathy and empowerment, as opposed to a place of, maybe if I say something, people will listen to me, because it's not about me, it's about us. It's not about my story, it's about everyone's story. It's about, more importantly, the voices of those that are often silenced. So, that was a big part of my meditation when I started to write superhero. Um, and yeah, I really, I remember going back to the tattoo parlor the next day after everybody had this conversation about racial oppression and privilege in the States. And I played it for them, and I think three of the staff members ended up crying, which is a horrible goal to set for myself. But I really do. I feel like if I can make somebody cry with the songs that I write, then I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. so, um, so yeah, I mean, I just want people to feel things, and more importantly, I want people to feel empowered and feel like they are the leaders of change, and they are the leaders of hope and love, and you know, because as the saying goes, if not me, who? If not now, when? That's really, really important to me. Sorry, my computer keeps rocking because my desk isn't the most stable. So what was the biggest breakthrough that I achieved when writing the song? I think the biggest breakthrough on a personal level um, was writing superhero. Was my first, this is going to sound weird again. Uh, it was my first opportunity to give myself permission to be somebody who gets who's considered black. In New Zealand, when where I grew up, our indigenous culture are Maori. I'm not Maori. My dad was Fijian, which is a tiny island off the coast of New Zealand, and well, 3 hours off the coast. But one of the things about Maori culture is that when you walk into a room, you describe yourself, you introduce yourself by talking about the mountain you grew up next to, or the water, ocean, lake, sea that you grew up next to, the river that you grew up next to, the marae, or the meeting place, or the church that your family go to. There are all these parts of ourselves that are celebrated, and then the last bits of information are, these are my grandparents, these are my parents, and you can call me Emma G. Um, Whereas here, it's in the States, it's very much like tick one box. Who are you? Oh, I'm black, or oh, I'm European, or oh, I'm Hispanic or Native American or whatever, but tick one box. Whereas I wasn't raised that way. So I think writing superhero was like my giving myself permission to like lean into what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, to be considered one box, and to let myself really feel that, because the more you sort of lean into the uncomfortable, is the more opportunity you have for growth, and the more opportunity you have for um, learning, and then spreading those learnings. So from there, I was able to then carry on. Oh, actually, this makes sense to me. Okay, now let's carry on writing about not just my story, but the stories of many other people around me. Um, However, on a professional level, superhero has saved me in many ways by not just giving me the opportunity to, you know, perform on stage, but also tour the country, that being the States. The music video has been featured in various sorry, not music videos. The music video has been featured in many film festivals because, there's a storyline behind it. And I want to do a massive shout out to the Everyday Weekend and UXU Productions for helping me put that storyline together. And of course, Orlando, who is the lead character, the lead girl at the beginning of the film, at the beginning of the music video, where she certainly showed up and did her part as as young people often do. They're the leaders of change, really. Let's be real. I'm just here to facilitate. So that's how that song has changed my life, both professionally and personally. So my next question that I usually ask other artists is, have I received any feedback from friends or family about the song? And yes, absolutely, I have. Um, in fact, there have been times when I have um, performed the song in venues where not my ideal demographic have been in attendance. So what's happened is, like, several times I've had guys come up to me or whatever and say, we like your music, but we don't like your message that you're portraying. And that's been interesting. But at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, cool. At least they're liking what they hear melodically. So maybe at least I can sort of prove or um, empower them to lean into that a little bit more and grow and push themselves a little bit more. If this is your comfort zone, this is where the awesome shit happens, right? So so I think that's been the most important feedback I've gotten from the song. Obviously, people have also leaned into me and told me that how much of an impact the song has spoken to them, or how much they've sort of challenged themselves to, you know, lead by example, or lead with love, or lead with more empathy, or lead with more of an open heart, an open soul, and open ears. But I think the most powerful has been, the most powerful has been seeing the change in potential change in people's behaviors. Um, right. My next question. I'm getting through these, guys. And thank you for listening. If you have any questions yourself, please feel free to comment in the chat box and let me know what you want to know. So what makes this my life changing songs? Again, like I said at the very beginning of this chat, I try to change my own life with every song that I write. If I can make myself feel something, then I know that I'm doing okay. And if I can make somebody else feel something, that's even better. Um, but I think if I can make myself cry, if I can make myself really lean into that uncomfortable, that is the most important thing for me. Um, and from there, I know that I can grow and develop and move and change and do what I need to do to be a better human and be a better leader of light in my world, at least in my community and city and whatever. So it's definitely been a theme that has come up over and over and over again. And I know that Stephanie Matthias is watching this right now, and she's another human that definitely leads with the superhero vibe. Her song Hero Side came out recently, and it's just things like that, being able to not just identify your tribe, but also inspire them to lead the light as well has definitely been life changing. And of course, the last thing I want to talk about before I sign off today, guys, is if you have a song that you want to read about, write about, sing about, spread love about, I'm in the middle of writing my first ever book. It's called The Songs That Changed My Life, but it's also I also coach songwriters or wannabe songwriters to, write your own life changing music and write your own stories. Empower the world, change the world with your songs, with your melodies, with your light, with your message, with your vision. We're all here for a purpose. I know everyone says that, and it's getting to the point sometimes when 2020 is like, God, can this just end already? Can we get a bloody cure? Can we, get over this? But I think this is the time that, like I said, leaders of light, leaders of change need to step up. And what better way to do that than to write a song that changes the world? So if that sounds like of an interest to you, head to my website, imagingmusic.com, and put forward a pre-save the book before anybody else. It's for free. It's going to be exciting. And that way, when it comes out, you'll be first to get it before it hits the stores. And if you were interested in coaching or learning the process, my process, and how you can apply it to your own songwriting process, feel free to again send me a message by heading to emmagmusic.com. And I will see you next time, guys. Be good, be kind, spread love like it's going out of fashion. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.